Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now January 9th of 2021, and ever since the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2, a lot of fans have been looking forward to Season 3 of the series by Disney and Lucasfilm, as well as Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and exactly what they have in store for this new Star Wars universe overall. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that yes, we do know that they are now currently in this phase of pretty much on the road to success to really establishing this new expanded universe between George, Jon, and Dave, delivering tons of Star Wars Legends material coming back into the Disney canon, as well as giving fans original content that we have yet to ever see in both canon and or Legends. So this is going to be a very interesting take on the franchise moving ahead. However, everything related to Kathleen Kennedy over the years, we do know that she really caused a lot of problems for the entire Star Wars fandom, anything ranging from The Last Jedi to Solo to The Rise of Skywalker, right? Those were the three main things that Kathleen Kennedy had a lot of problems with, and those three projects really kind of set the divide between the Star Wars fans. Now, with that being said, of course, everything related to creator George Lucas, what's really exciting has all to do with Disney CEO Bob Chaypek's plan for George Lucas and exactly what's going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm and what's the actual plan by Bob Chaypek for Lucas himself. Now, specifically, of course, with that being said, given that The Mandalorian Season 3 is now currently in development, and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are very hard at work on that season, Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their other projects for the universe as well. It's described, however, that Disney CEO Bob Chaypek has a big plan for creator George Lucas to replace Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy as president of Lucasfilm temporarily by the third quarter of this year before Chaypek decides to actually choose his permanent solution for the new president to run all things Star Wars. Chaypek is described to have already allowed George Lucas to have full creative control over the roadmap of Star Wars and exactly how the Star Wars projects will be paced and released for the fans around the globe. Now, when Chaypek stripped Kathleen Kennedy from her power back in early 2020, is when Lucas gained more creative control behind the scenes in order to adjust Star Wars properly for the fan base. Now, not just that, but Chaypek and Lucas are both very excited about this to happen later this year to set things right for the entire Star Wars fandom, and that Chaypek is also excited to give Lucasfilm a new president as soon as possible for Lucasfilm to steer things completely in the right direction for Star Wars. Now, let's just stop right here for 1 second before we actually move on. Bob Chaypek is really creating his own legacy, there is no doubt about this. Bob Chaypek really does outperform Bob Iger in my book. I mean, look at what he has already done in 2020, alright? In 2020, he stripped Kathleen Kennedy of her creative power. He allowed Jon Favreau to do anything he wanted to with Season 2 of The Mandalorian when they were filming. And also, let's not forget about this, is that Chaypek is the one that actually allowed far better creators to come on board. We're also talking about Kevin Feige. We're talking about other creators that are going to be associated with Lucasfilm very soon. This is all because of Bob Chaypek in the mix, allowing all of this to happen. So I think that Kevin Feige obviously was a great addition because the Marvel Cinematic Universe, very successful. As you all have heard, one of the Star Wars films are going to be done by Kevin Feige, and it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how well it's going to be once it hits theaters and how well it's going to be received in comparison to the sequel trilogy movies, right? However, not just that, the thing about George Lucas is a very interesting transition. The temporary technique by Bob Chaypek to have George Lucas stand in as the new president of Lucasfilm, temporarily speaking. To be honest with you guys, I think that's a very interesting move by Chaypek. We talked about this lightly before in the past. But this is interesting because he is giving him full creative control right now over the roadmap of Star Wars. Essentially, how these new Star Wars TV shows are going to be released and paced. Essentially, when they're going to be released and how far apart they're going to be released from each other. That's all up to George Lucas, at least right now. So that's kind of like handling the business end of things. That's kind of like handling, you know, the marketing end of Star Wars overall, and exactly how well things are going to perform based on when other actual projects release. So obviously, Chaypek knows what he's doing. He knows that the fans love George Lucas. They love what they have seen with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. And Chaypek really is going to do something quite incredible for the fans. There's no doubt about that. So Chaypek, like I say, I have no worries about him taking over Disney as the CEO fully once Bob Iger officially steps down and leaves later this year, by the way. Once he hands full control over to Bob Chaypek, I have no worries about that at all whatsoever. So like I've said before in the past, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding on one. From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.